Are you looking to start incorporating strength training into your fitness routine, but you don't really know which dumbbell you should start with? You don't really know how strong you are, and you don't kind of want to look silly at the gym lifting a weight that's too heavy for you or possibly too light. In this video, I'm going to explain in the simplest way to understand how to know which weight you should be starting with and which weight you should be lifting for each specific exercise, when to increase your weights, more about progressive overload, and what to do if you can't necessarily increase your weight. How can you still apply progressive overload while still challenging yourself to get the results that you want? And make sure you watch all the way to the end, and I'm gonna give you a few tips if you're looking to buy dumbbells to start your strength training journey at home, but don't know which size dumbbells you should be buying. I'm gonna give you a few tips on how you can figure out which dumbbells to buy to get you started. We're gonna dive right in, but of course, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit that bell so you get a notification when I release a new video just like this one every single week. My name is Michelle Roots, kinesiologist, personal trainer, nutrition coach, and fitness and fat loss motivation specialist. I have over 16 years experience in the industry helping people decrease body fat, increase lean muscle to feel like the best, strongest, healthiest versions of themselves. And I created this channel here to help you as well. So let's get right into it. This is a common question I get either through my YouTube comments here, Instagram DMs, or from my online coaching clients who aren't down here in my studio with me doing their personal training sessions. If you are new to strength training, how do you know which dumbbell you should pick up and how much you can lift for each individual exercise? Now I'm gonna start this by saying, don't just do a Google search of how much should a woman lift, if you're a woman watching this, how much should a woman lift for a single arm dumbbell row? Because an article is gonna pop up that's gonna say something about each woman should lift this much. This is not the best way to choose your starting weight. As I mentioned in many other videos on this channel, you are on your own journey. Do not compare yourself to anyone else. So another tip is you're probably stronger than you think. So if you're one of those people who is scared to lift heavy, or don't think you're as strong as you actually are, and you always go for the 5-pound weights or the 8-pound weights, and you just stick within that range and don't necessarily want to lift any heavier, my tip for you is you're probably way stronger than you think you are, and having the confidence to go and pick up that heavier weight and just try it out at least is major key if you want to see results in building lean muscle and achieving a body recomposition or just getting stronger in general. My best tip for you is to start by playing a little bit of a guessing game. This is what it's all about, and this is actually what I do with a lot of my personal training clients that I see in person here that I've maybe never worked with before. I'm also playing a guessing game, but I'm playing an educated guessing game because I've done assessments, I've done interviews, I've done all kinds of things. I see how their body moves, I see their body type. I'm at the point now where I can kind of gauge about how much weight they're able to lift, at least for a starting set. But I want you to do the guessing game on your own and listening to your body. So let's throw out a single arm dumbbell row, for example. If you have never done this exercise before and you really want to get your form right and you want to see how much you can lift, start with a 10-pound dumbbell or a 12-pound dumbbell and perform the first set of 10 reps, whatever your program calls for. So you're gonna go through the motion of your single arm dumbbell row with that, say, 10-pound weight that you chose to start with. If you get to your 10th rep and you feel like I probably could have done 15, I didn't really feel that much of a burn in my muscle, and I felt like I was able to maintain really good form through all 10 of those reps, it's a possibility you can probably lift heavier. And then if you're doing 3 sets of that exercise, in the next set, if you were lifting the 10-pound dumbbell, my best advice is go up to the 15-pound. And what you're gonna do is go through the same motions. You're gonna use the 15-pound dumbbell in your second set. You're gonna do your dumbbell rows. And again, if you get to the 10th rep and you were able to push out 15 with good form, you didn't really feel that much of a burn in your muscle, and you were able to maintain your good form, maybe you can go up again. But if you use that 15-pound dumbbell and you got to about the 8th rep, and maybe if you would have performed the last 2, you might have lost form, or you were able to push out that 10th rep, but the 11th rep, you probably would have lost form, you probably wouldn't have been able to do another set, then that means you probably chose a great weight for you, and you're gonna mark that down. So this is the kicker when applying progressive overload. If you don't know what progressive overload is and you want more of an overview to get an understanding, I'm not gonna touch base on it in this video because I have this video already on my channel. I'll link that in the description below if you want to go watch that one next to get a better understanding of progressive overload. But basically, that is how you're going to figure out for each individual exercise how much weight you're able to lift. And that's why this is a journey. It's not being perfect every single time. If you are new to the gym, The first few weeks is just gonna be practicing form and learning more about how your body works and how strong you actually are. And this is why tracking your weights is so important. In my online coaching app, I have all of my clients track their reps and their weights for each set that they perform so that I can see what weights they're lifting and help them with their progressive overload. But if you don't have an app to track, you can bring a notepad with you, single arm dumbbell row. Set 1, I did 10 reps at 10 pounds. Set 2, I did 8 reps at 15 pounds. Set 3, I did 8 reps at 15 pounds. So now when you come back to that, say, upper body strength workout, when you come back to those single arm dumbbell rows, you know that you can lift 15 pounds. So in that workout, you're now gonna try and see, let's see if I can get either 3 sets of 8 with the 15-pound dumbbell, or I'm gonna see if I can get 3 sets of 10 reps with that 15-pound dumbbell. And you're gonna repeat that for every exercise in your workout. And you're gonna write it down because you're not gonna remember next week what you lifted. This is the exact same process I go through when I'm doing in-person personal training clients here in my private studio. I'm writing down their reps, I'm writing down how much weight they lifted, and that's how I help them apply progressive overload. I'm watching their form. So if they're lifting too heavy and they're compromising on their form, we drop the weight. I just want to take a minute to thank today's video sponsor, Element, one of my favorite go-tos for replenishing my electrolytes after sweaty workouts or just drinking on a daily basis to feel better. Electrolytes are so important for so many functions in the body, including hormonal regulation, nutrient absorption, conduction of nerve impulses, and fluid balance. Sometimes water just isn't enough, and Element has the perfect balance of 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium. And even better yet, no sugar, no artificial sweeteners, and no junk. Element can help prevent and eliminate headaches, muscle cramps, fatigue, sleeplessness, and other common symptoms of electrolyte deficiency. So if you live an active lifestyle, especially if you sweat a lot in your workouts, Element might be just what you're missing in your life. Right now, Element is offering my listeners a free sample pack with any order. That's 8 single-serving packets free with any Element order. It's a great way to try all 8 flavors. Get yours at drinkelement.com/Michelle. This deal is only available through my link. You must go to drinklmnt.com/Michelle. And another thing to point out here is you're not gonna be lifting the same weight for every exercise. For example, a compound lift, your bigger lifts, bench press, deadlifts, squats, your multi-joint movements where you're working more than one muscle group, you're most likely gonna be able to lift heavier weights than isolation exercises. And isolation exercises where you're working one muscle group at a time. For example, a bicep curl. So I might be able to do 40 pounds, 50 pounds on a single arm dumbbell row because there are more muscles helping me work through that exercise, but I'm not gonna be able to lift 40 pounds on a dumbbell bicep curl. And that's one thing to point out, again, going back to why you wanna write everything down and really make sure you're challenging your muscles. So there you go. Much like Google might tell you differently, I wish I had a better way to tell you that you should start with a 15-pound dumbbell for your dumbbell rows, you should start with a 10-pound dumbbell for bicep curls, a 20-pound dumbbell for deadlifts. Everybody is different. You might be stronger than Sally who's working out beside you, even though it's your first day. I'll give you a quick little checklist to go through in your mind as you're doing your workout to know if you're lifting the correct weight for you. 1, can I feel the weight? So when I'm doing my dumbbell row or my bicep curl, do I feel my muscle contracting? Does it feel like I'm actually doing something or does it feel too easy? 2, can I move through the exercise with good form and really feel the muscle working that I'm trying to target? And by good form, I mean obviously good form, but also at a good tempo. Not, we all see those people at the gym doing bicep curls like that. If you have to use your entire hips and entire body to perform a bicep curl of the weight you're lifting, I'm sorry. Probably too heavy for you. If you're not able to maintain proper posture and a good tempo through the exercise, it's probably too heavy for you. Just saying. Another marker to know, are you able to perform that exercise through the recommended rep range with good form? So if your program calls for 8 to 10 reps, but you're maybe only able to do 3 reps with good form, most likely it's a little bit too heavy for you and you need to drop down the weight. And most importantly, do you feel like you're being challenged? Do you feel like it's hard work? Again, in order to build our muscles and really challenge our body, it's gonna feel like hard work. If you feel like you're just going through the motions, it's most likely not heavy enough and you need to increase the weight. Now, I'm not gonna go over recommended rep ranges and set ranges for each exercise, as I already have a video talking all about that right here. If your goal is a body recomposition, go check that video out next. So a little bit more about progressive overload. I kind of touched base earlier on when to know if you should increase the weight that you're lifting. What if you're not able to increase the weight? What else can you do to continue to challenge yourself and apply that progressive overload without increasing the weight on the bar? So one, I mentioned earlier, you can increase your reps. Two, you can play around with the tempo of how you're lifting the bar. So for example, you could work on negatives. So that is where I'm doing my barbell bench press. I'm going to take 5 seconds to lower the bar and then push it back up. So you're still gonna be lifting the same weight you are, but you're putting a little bit more of a challenge on your muscles by having to slowly lower the bar down. And as a pause at the bottom of the rep where you're forcing your muscles to stabilize. You can also change what you're supersetting that exercise with to again put another challenge or strain on your muscles. My best advice for beginners, increase your weight when you can with good form. If you're not able to increase your weight and maintain good form and all your reps, then just increase your reps to 12, 15, until you can do 3 sets of 15. By that point, you're most likely strong enough to be able to increase your weight by a few pounds and continue on again. That's the best way for beginners. And then after that, you can start to play around with your tempo and all of that. Okay, so that's how to choose the right weight if you were a beginner. And one last thing, sorry if I'm rambling, but another thing I wanna point out is just remember that you're not gonna apply progressive overload every single week. You don't necessarily have to get stronger or increase your reps every single week, especially in the bigger compound lifts. So some days your body is just not gonna feel good. So for example, if I can normally deadlift about 200, 225 pounds depending on the day, but if I come down one day and maybe I haven't fueled my body properly, maybe it's Sunday morning and I had some wine the night before and I had a burger for dinner and I didn't fuel my body as I normally would, if I come down and maybe I just feel tighter, maybe deadlifts just don't feel good that day and maybe I'm only deadlifting 185 pounds that morning. And that doesn't mean I'm a failure. Just remember that on any given day, you can be stronger or weaker depending on the fuel you put on your body, your sleep, your workouts from the week prior. There's so many things that come into account. So that's another thing is give yourself some grace, listen to your body and lift whatever you can on that specific day. As long as you're challenging yourself for how you feel that specific day and not pushing it. If I lift 185 and I'm like, oh, if I go heavier, I might blow out my back. I'm not gonna push it, for what? So that's one other thing I wanna point out is don't expect to apply progressive overload every single week. And don't get annoyed if you're not getting stronger. There's some lifts you're gonna progress faster. There's some lifts that are gonna take a lot of time. So last but not least, and as promised, if you're looking to buy some equipment for home and you don't know where to start or don't know what dumbbells to purchase because you've never really lifted dumbbells before, here's my best tips. Tip number 1, I would say buy adjustable dumbbells. Honestly, if you are building a home gym, an adjustable dumbbell is going to provide you so much more as you get stronger and take up minimal space. I'll put a link in the description below as to some adjustable dumbbells that I recommend that you can get just right off of Amazon. So that's my first tip is if you're gonna invest in some equipment for home, start with some adjustable dumbbells. So my next tip, and actually what I suggest to a lot of my online coaching clients who are buying dumbbells at home, I would say start with buying a 10-pound dumbbell, 12-pound, and a 15-pound dumbbell set, and possibly an 8. Don't bother with some 5s. Don't bother with it. Trust me, you're stronger than you think you are. If you really want to do the 8s, you don't necessarily need them. I would say 10s, 12s, 15s, and possibly 20s. Again, this depends for each individual person, but don't just go into the store and buy 2-pound dumbbells, 5-pound and 8-pound, because I guarantee each and every one of you watching this right now can probably lift heavier than that in certain exercises. You want to make sure you have at least one bigger dumbbell. For example, for you, that might be a 20-pound dumbbell to do a dumbbell single arm row or deadlifts or some of the compound lifts where you're probably going to be able to lift heavier. You could even buy 120 or 125-pound dumbbell to start. Use that for your goblet squats, your deadlifts, your dumbbell rows, that kind of thing. And then you want to have smaller pairs of dumbbells. So maybe 2 10s or 2 12s, possibly 15s. Again, this depends on each person so that you can have dual exercise. You could do reverse lunges with a dumbbell in each hand. You can do bicep curls. You can do skull crushers, and at least get you started there. You could do pec flies. That's my best advice. And then as you get stronger, you can just purchase more dumbbells. But again, this depends on how much space you have available at home. So I hope that was helpful, guys. That's just the best tips I can give you. A lot of you guys have been asking, so I've been like, just wait, I'm filming a video about it. So I hope I answered your questions, but if not, leave any questions in the comments below. I'm always happy to help, and I do my best to answer all of your questions. And make sure you give it a like if you found this video helpful, so I know that you guys are still enjoying the content. And if you are looking for a beginner strength training plan to follow when you go to the gym, just like I was talking about through my online coaching app, I've got an 8-week beginner-friendly strength training program, one for the gym or one that is dumbbells only, both 3-day and 4-day split options. I'll put that in the description below if you want to know more about that program to get you started and really start to learn to apply progressive overload, challenge yourself, and keep track of all the weights that you're lifting through different exercises. And if you want more personalized fitness and nutrition coaching, you can always work with me one-on-one. I'll put a link in the description below as well, where you can find out more about working with me on your fitness and fat loss journey. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will see you next week.